Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I need to call the meeting to order and make sure y'all silence your cell phones. Ms. Suddles, would you have a roll call, please?
Mayor Plummer,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Brooks.
Here.
Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Gray will be absent today. Commissioner Withrow.
Here.
We have a quorum and ready for the transaction of business.
Thank you, ma'am. Mrs. Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. The first item we have is the approval of the minutes for October 22nd, 2024. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any comments or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, may I have all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the ordinance section of our meeting. We do have a second reading of ordinance 2024-2026, or 2024-2026, sorry, and 2024-27. Brian, did you want to start us off on this item?
Yes, sure. So let me read this first. So the first one would be what we've all called the front, or I've called the front part of the property, which is the property of the church that fronts on Bethlehem Road. So it's an ordinance amending the zoning map for property owned by the First Church of God located 200 Bethlehem Road from an existing agricultural classification to a general commercial B2, consisting of 4.097 acres, more or less, as the existing zoning is inappropriate and the proposed zoning is appropriate, and overriding the reconsideration of the Joint Planning Commission after a public hearing. So just if I could just speak on this briefly. So as you all know, this was brought from the Planning Commission at their August meeting. We did get the minutes, which were approved, I guess, last week by the Planning Commission. Those have been provided to you. The full record has been provided to you. The audio of that meeting, and then of course the September one that follows has been provided. But at the last City Commission meeting, I think as the neighborhood representative was speaking, it was mentioned that the notice had not been sent to the property owners. And so we did some follow-up with that and confirmed that unfortunately that had not been done. And so under Kentucky law, both by statute and then by city ordinance, absolutely required that adjacent property owners are to be mailed notice of the hearing. That's in addition to the signs that are posted. I think that as an absolute prerequisite to any zone change. And so based on that, I just don't see how you all could pass an ordinance one way or the other. And so my recommendation is you guys can't really determine anything on the merits, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, whether to accept or overrule the recommendation of the Planning Commission. I think for everyone's benefit, for the church, for Westmart's, for all the neighbors, what we talked about originally was we want to have a process that if those who are dissatisfied with the process at least know that it was done in compliance with the law and everyone had their opportunity. And unfortunately, I don't think that's happened based on what's been said. So with that, I don't think we have a lot of choice here about what to do.
So we just need to follow the proper procedure, which would be we just don't act on the ordinance, or do you need a motion to
So you have to
deny the request and send it back to planning and
So
zoning?
when you don't do a zone change, you don't do an ordinance denying a zone change. The ordinance just changes the map. If you're gonna leave the map as it is permanently or temporarily, you don't pass an ordinance. But I do think you'll have to act. You have to have a formal motion, something along the lines of, because all the procedural requirements were not met, you reject this application, return it back to the Planning Commission for them to reconsider it anew and to assure that all the procedural prerequisites are met.
I would
I'll
move.
make that motion.
Go ahead.
That we just send it back and then go through the proper
Okay, so
process.
let me see if I'll try to stay a little more artfully
Thank you.
for the city clerk. So how about a motion to deny proposed zoning map amendment 24-03 because the required procedure for considering a proposed map amendment was not completed by the Planning Commission. City Commission is not making any decision on the merits of the proposed map amendment and instead must reject the proposed map amendment on these procedural grounds. City Commission would remand the matter, return the matter back to the Planning Commission for consideration of the proposal and a process to be conducted in compliance with KRS Chapter 100 and the city's zoning ordinance.
Yeah, what he said. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Or anything else?
Well, we'll need to do the other ones.
Do we want to call the roll on this one before we do it?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Ms. Ellis, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow.
Yes.
Motion carries as motion stated.
That brings us to item B, which is the second reading of ordinance 2024-27, which Brian, if you don't mind reading into the record.
Yep, let me read that, and, so it would be an ordinance amending the zoning map for property of West Marts LLC located at Westridge Lane from an existing agricultural classification to residential R2 only, consisting of 4.19 acres, as the existing zoning is inappropriate and the proposed zoning is appropriate, and pursuant to the recommendation of the Joint Planning Commission after a public hearing. So I can repeat myself or answer any new questions. It's the same issue that the notice wasn't sent.
So we need the same motion referring to the ZMA 24-04.
Yeah, let me just read it. I had sketched out my notes here. Motion to deny proposed zoning map amendment 24-04 because the required procedure for considering a proposed map amendment was not completed by the Planning Commission. The City Commission is not making any decision on the merits of the proposed map amendment and instead must reject the proposed zoning map amendment on these procedural grounds. The City Commission remands the matter to the Planning Commission for consideration of the proposal in a process to be conducted in compliance with KRS Chapter 100 and the city's zoning ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, Ms. Ellis, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow.
Yes.
Motion carries as presented.
So this is a special meeting, so there's nothing else to come before us today. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
All right. Question, whose responsibility is it to mail those notices?
Why don't let's adjourn and we'll go off record.